Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and yes, I have the camera set up at a different angle today because I want to show you something that you normally don't see in any of my Texas Gun Vault videos, and that is the wall that I sit in front of when I make the videos. As you can see, I have a bunch of tools up here that are hanging. Now, all of these are particular tools that for the most part I use when it comes to home gunsmithing, when I'm either building a gun or working on a gun. Now, while some of these are pretty normal parts, like you have an AR-15 armorer's wrench, I have a lot of other things that are proprietary tools, mainly for handguards. I have one for a Daniel Defense handguard, one for a Midwest Industries handguard. I have a number of different tools for silencers and shotgun chokes, and the reason I put them all up here is that if I just put them in a box, when the time comes for me to need them, I'm probably not going to be able to find them. So I've kind of created a little hanging system here, so when I'm working on a gun and go, oh yeah, it's some type of proprietary wrench, part, spanner wrench, whatever, I pretty much know where I'm most likely going to find it. Now, I wanted to talk about my thoughts on proprietary tools because right now I'm in the process of trying to review a Q Sugar Weasel. I've talked about this on some videos in the Texas Gun Vault. Now, I did take this to the range, but I had one issue, and that is this is an adjustable gas block, and as it is set up right now, and by the way, this upper is in 5.56, not 300 blackout, I had some problems getting the gun to cycle. Now, the owner of this awesome pistol, D, told me that he always runs this with a suppressor, and that's going to give you a lot of back pressure. And so this particular gas block is really closed off, and he says he has no problem getting the gun to function normally. But because I can't borrow his silencer because of the NFA, and I have no silencer that will fit on this particular muzzle device, I have to shoot it unsuppressed. And guess what? The gun doesn't cycle. So I contacted D and said, hey, can I adjust the gas block setting? He goes, absolutely. He hadn't adjusted it since he bought it from the factory. Well, this adjustable gas block is behind one of these rails. You can kind of see where the adjustment is, but you can't get to it with an Allen wrench. So my only option now is to take off this handguard. And the handguard comes off, and let me take this magazine out here, by loosening a little nut right here on the bottom of the handguard. So I got out my wrenches, and I have a bunch of little wrench sets, and here's the main one I use. It's this nice little metric Craftsman one. And so I opened it up, and I had a 6mm and an 8mm. Didn't have a 7mm, so I tried the 6. It's definitely too small, and the 8 is too big. Okay, it's got to be a 7mm. Well, it turns out that pretty much every wrench set I have doesn't have a 7mm. Not that I've lost it, just I guess nobody really makes it or thinks you're going to come across the need for a 7mm wrench. So I had to buy one on Amazon. It has to be the size, right? No, it's not the size. It's something between a 6mm and a 7mm. Now, I know what some of you guys are saying. Well, it must be an SAE size, and I tried every wrench I possibly can. And maybe I just don't have the right one and I don't know the size, but I cannot figure out what type of tool or wrench it's going to take for me to get this off. And so it got me thinking about proprietary tools. And by the way, if you know what size I need for this, please tell me in the comment section below so I can order, so I can get this handguard off and I can adjust this gas block. But as I said, this got me thinking about proprietary tools and why I am not a big fan of them. And it's for a number of different reasons. The first and foremost is you buy a part. Let's say you're building an AR-15 and you buy a Daniel Defense handguard and you're like, yeah, this is awesome. It's the perfect one for my build. Oh no, I gotta go out and buy the proprietary wrench from Daniel Defense. Now, normally these tools aren't too expensive, but it could add a little bit of a delay in your build. And you're only gonna use that tool probably once or twice, unless you build a bunch of AR-15s or plan on taking the handguard off. So usually it's not that big of a deal. You might hang it on the wall like I do, because I do work on guns enough. But let's just talk about the future. You guys know I'm a little bit pessimistic about the future of our gun rights because I always say the anti-gunners never sleep, and many of the courts are trying to strip us of our Second Amendment rights. Let's just say that Daniel Defense, for example, gets put out of business, whether it's because of a lawsuit or they can't sell to civilians anymore because of assault weapon bans. So they quit producing stuff for civilians, and you have a Daniel Defense upper receiver that's been grandfathered in. And now you can't work on it because you can't get the proprietary wrench to take off the handguard. Yeah, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. That is silly and stupid. It's just one of those insurance policy things that I like to have. I truly wish that companies would standardize the tools. Why can't we just all use a standard AR-15 armorer's wrench? Now, I understand that when it comes to designing things like handguards, sometimes the designs require specialty barrel nuts, and that's why we have those specialty tools. But man, so many of these tools are so similar. It's just the specifications on the teeth of them are just a little bit off. It honestly drives me nuts because every time I buy a part or buy a gun, I need to get this handguard off. Guess what? I got to go out and find a specialty tool, or a tool that's only made in Europe, or something weird like one of the B&T tools, and I'll even show it to you right here. It's kind of like a gigantic Allen wrench. Now this is for one of their wiped suppressors for the VP9 and the Station 6. And this tool right here goes into the end cap to unscrew it. Yeah, you'll never find an Allen wrench that's size again. So it's stuff like that. So you gotta buy it, you gotta hold on to it. You may or may never use it again, but there's the problem. You may never use it again, but somebody in the future may need one. The company may go out of business, change the design of their handguards. They no longer use that proprietary wrench or part, and now you can't get your handguard off. Why can't we standardize? Now, my personal opinion is this, and this is my thoughts on specialty tools for gunsmithing, is that if you are going to build a firearm and aren't trying to clone something out or use some type of specific part, try to buy parts that can be easily assembled that use standardized wrenches, like a standard AR-15 armorer's wrench. Yeah, you can do so much with this thing, from putting on barrel nuts, you can tighten down the flash hiders. It's perfect. This thing is awesome. It has a spanner wrench. You can do so much with this, but you can't use it for everything. But it's so similar to all of the other tools that you would get from the other companies. But anyway, I try to say is try to buy parts that are going to be assembled using standardized parts, because you'll always be able to buy one of these. But if one of those companies happens to get bought or sold, go out of business, you might not be able to get one of those parts again. And it's not just for handguards, it's also for guns and suppressors. As you can see on this side over here, I have a bunch of tools for suppressors. A lot of these are from Silencer Co. They're spanner wrenches, and particular wrenches for getting the end caps off. And then if I don't have them, yeah, I could probably jury rig something else to work, but I don't have that right part, and I could damage the product that I'm trying to work on. I absolutely hate it. So my opinion is, if you're a firearms company, use standardized tools. Don't create a tool just for your own handguards, for your own uppers. I understand why they're there. The only time I really try to use them is if I have to do it for something very specific like a clone build. But that's it. I know this is kind of a complainy video today, but I wanted to talk about proprietary tools for gunsmithing and how I organize my proprietary tools. I have them up here. I rarely use them, but I have them at the ready. They're not sitting in some box. They're waiting for some type of project that I'm working on that I need. And it drives me nuts. I wish I didn't have to do that, but I do, because gun companies all use proprietary tools on their guns instead of standardized tools. Now, as I said, this is kind of a gripe about this sugar weasel. I'm not even sure if this is a proprietary tool, but if somebody can tell me, I would love to know. But anyway, that is my thoughts on specialty tools for gunsmithing. What do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree? Am I totally wrong on this? Are those specialty tools completely worth it? Or do you hate buying a handguard and then having to buy 2 or 3 tools just to install it because it's proprietary? It drives me nuts. Let me know in the comments section below, and do you have a collection of proprietary tools like I do? So, as always, thanks for watching.